Welcome to Knowledge 5, Lesson 4, the Maya, Festival of the First Star. Toon began telling the others about King Pachal, the Mayan king who had ruled Baakal and was buried in a magnificent pyramid tomb in that city. Speaking softly so that other people might not overhear, Toon said, "Mayan kings become kings based on who their fathers were. When a king dies, if he does not have a son, his brother or his nephew might become king." But King Pachal was different. His mother was the queen. However, according to Mayan tradition, shortly after his 12th birthday, his mother crowned Pachal king. But he was worried some might say he was not worthy of being a ruler. So he always tried extra hard to show what a great ruler he could be. Some people think that is why he built such a great pyramid in which to be buried. I do not know if that is why he built such a great pyramid, but I know that to this day, King Pachal was the greatest king who ever ruled Baakal, and now his son, King Balum, is a great ruler like his father. But all this is something we do not talk about openly, for King Balum might not like it. He does not want anyone to remember that there was a question about his father being king, for then they might say the same thing about him. Although after all this time, I do not think anyone would do so. Still, do you all understand why I am saying these things softly? The children whispered, "Yes," all at the same time. They felt very grown up to have been told this story, and for a while they were quiet as they and the grown-ups rose to their feet and went on exploring the great city. Swiveling his head side to side, determined not to miss anything, Peak told Cannell, "I never knew there could be buildings so big." "Yes," Cannell agreed, "or such a big market, with so many things for sale and so many people buying and selling." Or so much noise," Ekal said, and her brother laughed. "Well, it's true," she protested. "Our village is never this noisy." Chano said, "It is because of the festival of the first star. All of these people are here to celebrate the appearance of the first star and the god, Kukulkan." The Maya believed the stars and planets were gods, so for hundreds of years the Maya studied the sky very carefully. They had no telescopes to make distant things look closer and clearer. No one had invented a telescope yet. But the Maya built what we call observatories for studying the sky. To observe means to look carefully at something. So, an observatory is a place to observe the sky. The ancient Maya built observatories atop temples and high places, and the Maya priests studied the sky from them. The Maya scheduled their holidays and many other events to match the movements of stars and planets. The Maya figured out exactly when planets and stars would appear in certain places in the sky. They used this knowledge to create the most accurate calendar in the world. They had festivals centered on the appearance of stars and planets, like the Festival of the First Star. Today we know that the Festival of the First Star was not really about a star at all. What Pachal called the first star is really a planet that looks like a star. We call this planet Venus, and like our own planet Earth, Venus travels in a wide circle around the Sun. It is often the first star-like light that we see in the evening sky when it is beginning to get dark. Of course, without a telescope, the Maya could not see Venus clearly enough to know if it was a planet, so they called it a star. To them, it was the first star and very important. So the festival celebrated the time each year when the first star, which was actually Venus, appeared at a certain place in the sky. People came from far away to take part. During the festival, there would be singing and dancing, and Mayan people would make offerings to the god that the first star represented to them, Kukulkan. While Canol, Pic, and their families were visiting the city of Pachal, thousands of other Mayan families were visiting too. They all watched the lines of richly dressed nobles walking to the temples. They watched the appearance of King Balum with special excitement as he was carried to the foot of a pyramid, walked slowly up the wide steps to the top, and disappeared into the temple. They waited the whole time he was inside, and when he reappeared, they cheered mightily, for they knew he had asked the gods to be kind to his people, and they hoped the gods would agree. As the celebration stretched into the night, Canol's family looked around in wonder. But the greatest wonder was what was happening to Zook. For as he watched the excitement and joy in his son's face, Zook's face began to show those emotions too. Well into the night, Pic fell asleep, and Zook gently lifted his son into his own powerful arms and carried him, smiling down at his son's face. Canol was awake long enough to see all this before he too fell asleep and was picked up by his own father. Ekel had already been asleep for an hour, cradled in her mother's arms. The morning fog cleared in the first hour of their journey home. Pic, turning to call his cousin Canol in the other canoe, nearly lost his balance and fell into the river. His father grabbed him by the shoulder and steadied him in the canoe. And then Zook laughed and joked, "My son, you are not a tortoise. Do not leap into the water." And hearing his brother laugh, Toon smiled to himself and dipped his paddle once more into the water, glad to be going home.